That's Scotty, I'm Motty, and this is...
Scotty and Motty.
Nice. Sounded almost like a children's entertainer there, didn't it? It sounded like a kids'
We
TV
definitely
program.
aren't anyone you'd see on CBeebies or any sort of wacky warehouse, wherever you are, the absolute opposite. But thank you very much for everyone that's tuning in at the moment. Obviously, it's been a busy week in the news with the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, is that right?
Yes, that is right. Where were you when you heard the news?
In the kitchen.
The kitchen?
Yeah.
That's where I was when I heard Diana had died.
That was early. Well, it was early in the morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, when Diana died, it was 2:30 in the morning or something.
Yeah, I'd got back from 42nd Street.
Had you?
Yeah.
I got back from Bowlers, and it was buzzkill. Went under straight away. It's like in the kitchen, out your mind. It's Dodie's dead and Diana's ill.
Yeah.
Diana's really poorly.
Yeah, my mum was crying in the dining room.
Yeah.
And I thought, what the fuck have I done now?
But I was in hotel football when they got the news about the Queen, and it was a bit out of the blue. When I know she was 96, but that day it was all quite quick, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I presume they've known for a while. That
Yeah.
it was
Well,
on
I
the
mean,
cards.
to us a lot. For me, well, I can speak for myself, but I didn't have any inclination this was going to be the day. I don't think they knew really, because weren't they like sort of scattered around a little bit, the royal family?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it was.
And I think given
imminent.
that I think it was the day before, wasn't it, when they did the Prime Minister changeover as well. So she obviously was active.
Yeah, they did. And then next thing you know, obviously she took ill. And there was sort of the news. And then there's little hints in there. Was it Hugh Edwards who did the news and he changed into a black suit?
Yeah.
And when people are going, I hope something's afoot. We was in hotel football. They announced it. And then they did a bit of the old. I think they played the national anthem something on the. I think they had the BBC on in hotel football, and it was a bit strange because whether you're a royalist or not, it's like everyone has had the Queen, haven't they?
Yeah,
that's their head of of the monarchy or whatever. So it's a bit like
it's a historic event. Isn't
yeah,
it
it is. It felt like a bit of a JFK moment, and then obviously there's a funeral planned. We've got this mourning. And I get it. A lot of people have sort of been upset about it, affected by it, and all that. What has sort of surprised me a little bit, and not surprised me, I found a little bit strange, is some of the reaction that's going on. I want to say some of the reaction, like, we've got it on the thumbnail, and it's like, there was a story that was, that makes you think, what? I read this on, I think this was yesterday, royal beekeeper knocks on each hive to inform the bees that the Queen has died.
Imagine getting that gig.
The royal beekeeper.
No, and that's your responsibility. So there, you've got to go. And
Have you told them bees?
Yeah.
You better go and tell him. Hey, give him the bad news.
I bet they're in there.
Do you think he's like, what am I doing here?
Buzzing around, making honey and stuff.
Yeah.
Next minute, you got the bees that's going to tell the rest of the hive. Bad news, lads.
For you. The Queen's dead. Which Queen? No, not that Queen. Not your Queen.
The Queen.
Our Queen. Yeah. The Queen. Her Madge. Oh my God. I mean, you must be like, really? Do you know what I mean? But there was that, which is a bit strange, isn't it? Listen, regardless of what you thought was a royal family, informing bees that the Queen is dead is just ridiculous. I'm sorry, it just is. And then there's this other story that sort of made me think, what's going on here? Strict rules on Queen tributes imposed and Paddington Bear is banned. Now, this is apparently people keep leaving Paddington Bears everywhere. In like the Royal Palace grounds or whatever, or parks.
This is off the back of that video she did, didn't she?
With Paddington Bear, yeah. So they've been leaving marmalade sandwiches and bears everywhere.
Yeah.
And apparently they banned it. They said, you got to pack that in.
There was an interview on the BBC Breakfast. I can't remember the person interviewing, and they were discussing it and said, and it's not like it was the real Paddington that she did the video with. It was all CGI. And I was like, really? I was like, fucking breaking. You know what I mean? Paddington isn't real.
What? Paddington's not real, it's CGI. I thought she was really talking to a talking bear from Peru that likes marmalade sandwiches.
And as you know on this show, both Jay and I are big fans of the Peruvian bear.
We are, aren't we?
I love Paddington.
That is elite.
Yeah, Paddington's...
What's your favourite, one or two?
I like number 2. It's Hugh Grant now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, number 2, I think.
I think, yeah, 2's my favourite. I think I told you this. I was at home one day on the weekend and bizarrely, there was no one in or they were upstairs or scattered around the house or whatever. And Paddington 2 was on and I started watching it. I just watched it all on my own.
Yeah.
I just became engrossed with it.
They're making a 3rd one as well.
Are they?
Yeah.
It's so funny, isn't it? It is
brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the events. One thing that got me was the outrage when people like you're in mourning, you're supposed to mourn, or if you didn't mourn, then everyone, it was just like the political point scoring that seems to be going, especially on social media or even some of our mainstream media. I thought the Sky News Twitter was quite distasteful when Prince Harry had left Balmoral.
Yeah.
Did you see the tweet?
It was like last in, first out or something.
But yeah, he just said like Prince Harry has been spotted leaving Balmoral, space. And he was also the first. He was also the last one.
Like a little dig.
Yeah,
like
it just didn't need it at all.
You know, he's very, especially the right-wing media have been sort of tripping themselves up a little bit, haven't they? Because there was all this stuff. They all hate Meghan Markle, don't they? And then it was all Meghan Markle this and Meghan Markle that, and then they all rocked up together. And then that threw a bit of a spanner in the works, didn't it, for some of the narrative? And then you think, you know,
it's just not the time or place. I just think, regardless of what you think,
in terms of the media, not
no, regardless of how you felt about the Queen, I just think it's really distasteful to do it, to use the death of what is the head of state as a reason to have political points going against her grandson. How can you have the same media saying, "Oh, it's terrible that she's lost her life," but then start laying into her grandson? It just doesn't make any sense. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense, as the kids say. Yeah, because if you just lost your gran, last thing you want is the media having a dig at you for how you've reacted to it, or he left it. I mean, he left the next day. It's not really a story, is it? Do you know what I mean? Especially when his missus and his kids aren't with him. So, he's obviously gone.
He want to be with his family,
He's had the sad news, and then he's gone, and it just, I get too sort of annoyed at times with it all.
Yeah.
It does sort of pique my interest a little bit, and I'm not a royalist or whatever. I don't really bother with the royal family, but that whole sort of Meghan Markle thing, it used to annoy me, because you think, what are you on about? Do you know what I mean? Some of the stories, like, when she had avocado, and it was like, her avocado is funding terrorism. What? Do you know what I mean? And then I remember when she was pregnant and she was stroking a baby bump. And it was like, leave your bump alone. I thought, she's a mum stroking a baby bump.
It's just...
Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about, man? And it's, I'm not dismissing, I know it's a testing time for a lot of people, but I'm not one of these who's a royalist. I, don't care about the family. But when I saw that, I was just like, what is all this nonsense? Constant as well. And then she does what everyone asked her to do, or what the right wing asked her to do, and she moves over to California, and then they attack her even more. It just gets a bit weird to me.
What one of the usual suspects on that is someone who's been getting a lot of abuse on social media is Dan Winton.
This is the kid that
he's a Sun reporter, and that was on GB News.
Well, he's obviously swimming in the deep end now. The places to work in, bloody hell, the Sun newspaper and
frying pan and fire.
GB News, he did the thing where this is the guy who went to the Buckingham Palace and paid his respects, privately and solemnly by getting someone to film him putting down his flowers and praying. Yeah, and then posted it all.
I wouldn't mind. He was there for 2 seconds at best.
And also, like, if you're going to do that, right, up to you, each their own. I get we live in this sort of world and this media and where everything's on social media. But he's the type of guy, he'd been having a dig, hadn't he? He'd
had a go at Meghan Markle about it.
To go into, was it the Arlington Cemetery or whatever it was?
In America.
Like, and Harry's actually a veteran. So there's nothing wrong with him being pictured as a veteran and also a member of the royal family, paying his respects to soldiers.
Yeah.
Kind of all right. He had a dig at him. And then he's doing the same. The hypocrisy is just mad, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't think they care. What do you think we're getting forced grief as a nation? Because it seems to me, I think from the people I know and follow, 90% of them were fine. But like we're saying, like you expect the football to be cancelled, blah blah blah. But like the 10 days just seems a little bit long.
Yeah, I do worry a little bit that it gets too much for some people, and then they sort of, when you're hearing things like hospital appointments, I think, and the Queen's funeral day are being cancelled, and we know the football's being postponed. And then when it starts to affect people in a negative way, and I think there's other funerals have been postponed as well, which is just, you seem to be thinking, people going, my sympathy's going to wane here now, and now when this is affecting me adversely, I'm going to get annoyed, and it's just going to be like, then you're going to get this division because people start kicking off. Then you have other people going, oh, well, it's a special occasion sort of thing. You should be more respectful. And the last thing this country needs right now is more drama and division.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And it costs people money as well. I mean, obviously, you run a football channel. If the football's not on, that's affecting your pocket. And this weekend with the game United were playing against Palace, I had several different podcasts I was supposed to appear on. I'm not asking anyone to get the violin out for me, but it's just an example of when you take that away.
I hear it.
And if you got look at so United's cancelled again next Sunday, isn't it? That was like it against Leeds. You look at the stewards, security staff, caterers, casual staff. They're on temp contracts. They're not getting that money from that club. We're in the middle of the cost of living crisis.
You know better than anyone. There are certain people out there who that pay packet on that Sunday afternoon or that Saturday afternoon was buying their shopping.
Yeah.
Next week. I'm not being melodramatic. That's a fact.
No, they do that as an extra job to to make
so,
sure
right, I'll get the shopping in with that. And now you're not getting the shopping, it's going to be postponed.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah. And listen, this week, okay, you can say logistics, police, they need them here, there, and everywhere. Certain games have been called off. United versus Leeds, has been called off because the police in Greater Manchester are going to be needed for the funeral, whatever. There was no logic last week to postponing the games at all.
No.
There was even less logic to cancelling grassroots football. Stopping kids playing football made no sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then you saw the rugby and the cricket. They all had their games. They all had their, sang the national anthem and showed their minute silence. But football, God forbid we trust football fans to do something. So, no, we can't treat them like human beings. We've got to treat them like animals.
Do you think that's what it was down to?
100%.
Because it wasn't a government decision, though, was it? It
No.
was down in charge of the FA and the Premier League.
I think they were panicked.
That's disgusting.
It is disgusting. I think they panicked and thought, if we have this going ahead, there'll be some football fans that boo through the national anthem or chat through the minute silence or whatever. And it's going to, paint this almost this propaganda era that we seem to be living in a bad light. And I just thought, listen, I was at Old Trafford on Thursday night for the Real Sociedad game, 2 hours or whatever it was after the death had been announced. Now, I've said this on Paddock. I don't consider Manchester United fans or, United as a club to be historically a club that you'd associate with being royalist.
No.
We're not like Chelsea or West Ham or, those types of clubs where you think there is quite a tie to the royal family. But it was impeccably observed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was. There wasn't any, you could hear a pin drop where I was stood in the TRA. I think there was a little bit of chattering and someone told them to shut up and I don't think they'd clocked what was going on. So my point is, I don't think there would have been a drama. I don't think, and even if you do get one or two fans or one or two sections of fans who chant or sing or boo or something, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. You've still got the vast majority of football fans coming together and showing their appreciation for, the Queen or whatever. It just seemed a bit draconian to say no games.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it was almost like punishing football fans. Because, putting the money side of things, money element to one side for a minute, just as a pastime, as a hobby. Going to football, watching the football, we all need a bit of that, don't we? Times are tough, it's something to look forward to, do you know what I mean? And it's like, nah, you're not doing that for a couple of weeks. All right, nice one.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, if you've got a hospital appointment, forget that ain't happening. All right, sweet. Oh, and you've got a funeral to go to, that's off as well. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'll get in some of the comments in the chat. Let us know what you think about this topic or anything else. Solo says, big up Jay and Scotty. Always good to see him. Joe Tomlin says, Manchester is massive. He also says, best Manc duo since Ian Brown and John Squire.
Take that.
Yeah, I'd have that. Who would you be, Ian Brown or John Squire?
Given recent COVID conspiracy theorists, I'll go with Squire.
We spoke about Ian Brown a lot, didn't you remember? You did the best intro we've ever had on this show.
I remember I had a tinfoil hat on. Yeah,
Mate,
worth checking out that.
What happened to Ian Brown? Seriously. How did it all go wrong? Has he still got access to a phone? He's using his mate's phone, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Do you remember? I haven't got a phone. He was tweeting. Are you tweeting? Oh, this isn't my phone. All right, okay. So you're just using a phone that's not your own. It's like me. My phone's still in my mum's name. Scott says, bees understand what it's like to have a queen, you see. Exactly. Josh W says, all right, Jay, my parent grew up in Paddington, was wondering what the name of the high school was that your mates went to whilst you went for a Tory boy education. Yeah, I went to grammar, didn't I? It was Broad Oak, round our way. All my mates that I grew up with round Nara State, they all went to Broad Oak, and the lads that I went to primary school with who didn't pass, they went to Wellacre. So those were the two main schools. Get back, you bastard, I'll break your legs, says, think calling off the Leeds game is a bit too much. Yeah, it does seem a little bit, doesn't it? It's a bit annoying that we've got to this place now where there's no football this weekend, and I think the EFL's back on and certain games are back on, but Leeds, it's because you always need a big police.
You need a big police, yeah, but I mean, Arsenal and Brentford, where the funeral's taking place in London, is going ahead on the Saturday, isn't it? Do police not work 2 days on the row? Is that what the issue is?
I don't know.
Like,
it's like,
make it make sense.
It's just a bit of a weird feeling at the minute because on every channel on normal telly, there's it's the Queen stuff in it.
Yeah.
Which I don't really watch normal telly anyway. I usually watch Netflix or Paramount Plus, or whatever.
Other streaming services are available.
Yeah, other streaming services, YouTube and all that. So it's not really affected, but it's just when you go on it, you think
the radio's done me, and I work on the radio. I've actually not been on air since any.
When are you next on air?
Well, I was supposed to be on air on the day after, on the Friday, but the BBC goes to sort of national like they have like a fallback option and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I think I'm back on Friday at the moment, but it might with this being extended. I'm not too sure, but the music's been difficult, man. Not even on BBC, just when I was Robbie Williams, Dido.
Have they got like a? This is a silly question, but asking. Have they got like a playlist they've got to stick to?
It's changing every day. Like they get it sent from head office, I think. So I don't think many people know it until the day before. But can you imagine that job though? Like what's respectful tunes for the Queen?
I know it's weird, because my missus was saying she was listening to Capital, I think, and she said they'd had like because she works like listening to radio all day out and about delivering, and she said they had like the same 6 or 7 songs on all day. That was it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? On repeat. Because she said, I thought they must have some sort of like, special playlist.
It's difficult, isn't it, in terms of what tone you want to strike? I remember last year when Prince Philip died.
Yeah.
And I was completely oblivious to Prince Philip dying, but I'd heard the news that DMX had died. So we were supposed to have like a blackout on our BBC social medias. So then I put, oh God, I can't believe it. The Dark Prince of Hip Hop's passed away. And I fucking rest in peace, DMX.
What? Just like without knowing? So you just put that out?
Completely oblivious.
Did you get a phone call?
No. Because I'd not read the emails to say that I wasn't supposed to do it.
Have you seen the documentary on DMX?
Yeah.
Was it you that got me onto it?
I'm not too sure. I don't think so.
Well, mate, it's like the last couple of years of his like year in it, I think.
I don't think I've seen that.
It starts with him getting out of jail.
Yeah.
That's like the first scene is him coming out of jail and then them picking him up. So it's all fly on the wall.
Yeah.
And you obviously know what's coming. And you can see it's such a tragic documentary because I'm like you. I was never a massive hip hop fan, but I love DMX, and he's a very talented guy. And you can see he's going through it, and he comes out of jail, and he obviously just got out of jail, and he's not too bad, and he's not been using drugs or whatever. And then there's a bit where he goes missing. He goes to the record company, so he gets like a new record deal. He's skint, because he's got like, I think he's got loads of ex-wives and
loads of kids. And
kids,
stuff like that.
So he's got like no money left at all. His money's just gone. So he signs this like deal for a new record, a new album, whatever. So he's got a little bit of money, not much, but he's got enough. But then he goes missing in the documentary. They can't find him. Don't know where he is. Do you know what I mean? Then he turns up and he's been like on a bender basically for the last 4 days, and he looks a bit rough. And it is just tragic because you can sort of see like how things aren't going right and he's spiraling. And there's a couple of bits. There's one where some guy asks for a selfie and he says, some guy just basically asks for a selfie before DMX has said anything. He takes it, and DMX sort of snaps at him. Saying not in a bad way, but he's saying like, you just asked me that and then just did it anyway.
Yeah.
And like the guy's like, oh right, yeah, I'm sorry, sort of thing. And I think, man, the guy's going through it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
last thing you need. That
and there's a bit at the end, like the last bit is him singing Misty Watercoloured Memories. It's just him singing that. It comes on the radio and he's just him in his kitchen with his family. Because some of his family...
Oh, I've seen that clip though on social media.
Yeah, that's like the last scene in it. Very moving, very poignant. It was a really good documentary, actually. It's weird watching a documentary of someone's like final
downfall.
Yeah. No, this isn't a guy that's ill. I know, disease is an illness, but addiction is an illness. Sorry, not disease is an illness. Addiction is an illness, but this isn't someone who's in hospital physically dying of something where you go, he looks ill.
It's like watching a car crash.
Yeah, this is guy who's physically is able to continue. He's doing, he's performing, he's signing a new record deal, he's meeting his family. You know what I mean? You think this could go one way, but it doesn't. And you see what's happening, and you're like, oh man, oh no. And then everything, seeing you thinking, is this the last one? Is this going to be the last one? Where he passes away, and then that last one is very moving. If you've not checked it out, go and have a look. It's DMX latest documentary. Solo says, "Oh dear, Scotty, that DMX story is funny. I love DMX, great artist, and had a great voice. He didn't have that like gravelly voice." Miss Man United says James Blunt, that's my lady friend, of course, says James Blunt had never been played so much.
What on? For the Queen.
Have you seen him on Twitter?
I quite like James Blunt on Twitter.
Do you?
Yeah,
he's very self-deprecating, isn't
he? He doesn't mind it, does he?
No, he's sort of like, he's almost
fair
saying
play
like,
to him. That's how I'd take it.
I was like, I made a load of money. Everyone thinks I'm a bit crap. I probably was a bit crap, but
still
don't worry about it. Yeah, takes the mick out of himself, and he's sort of become like a bit popular because of that, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's like Neville Southall, and he's good at the social media things, and people who might not necessarily have liked him when he was, in his heyday, if you will, are now liking him.
What would you have as so?
Go on.
In the decades to come, like, what would you have as your funeral song?
I like the fact you put in the decades to come because it's worth remembering I'm a very young man.
Decades.
2?
I'm giving
Is that all
you.
I'm getting?
Well, make you 62. That.
Yeah, 62 nowadays. That's now that.
I know,
Hey?
but
The average age is about 87.
I know, but you were burning the candle at both ends for a long time, Jay.
Do you know what? He always drops these truth bombs, doesn't he?
I see you on Instagram, mate, when you're doing all your running, trying to claw the years back. It's not happening. Just give up.
If anything, I'm taking him off me, making it worse. That one long ad that was working is almost gone.
Clawing back.
Yeah. So in 2040, when I'm no longer.
You might see us win the league before you pass.
Now you're just talking nonsense. Hey, now you've lost it. Hey, what have you been drinking? Go on, what were you saying? Sorry.
So what would you have as your funerals? You ever thought about your funeral song?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Obviously. Doesn't everyone? I'd have the Circle of Life, not the Elton John version, the Disney one. The one that the Lion King at the fairs. I like all that, mate. Yeah? And it's quite, appropriate, if that's the right word. It's Circle of Life, so it's not too depressing. Do you know what I mean? What about you? What would you have?
I always wanted to have Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now by the Smiths.
Really?
I thought that'd be hilarious, but then I'm not too sure how I feel about Morrissey being played in church or wherever I'm getting buried.
Oh, I think you'll be all right. By that time as well, by the time you've passed away, he'll have long gone. So he won't have all the drama.
Have I got more years then?
Yeah, I mean, he's got... How old's Morrissey now?
60-something in a 65?
Yeah. He's another one. We've done this, but it's worth revisiting. What has happened to these people, man? Like, Ian Brown and Morrissey used to be legends, and now they're just gone all weird.
You know what's really interesting about that? Is when you look at, I think we mentioned this on the podcast previously, is when you look at Mancunian icons in terms of personality, you wouldn't have, like, Shaun Ryder and Liam Gallagher being the last standing standing frontmen that you could actually go out for a pint with. You wouldn't though, would you? But because you've got social media now, Liam Gallagher's really turned around the public persona, the public image of him, I think. Whereas Morrissey and Ian Brown has gone the other way.
No, it's weird because, like you say, you always looked at Morrissey and Ian
They were
Brown
like a beacon. They were like a beacon.
A voice for us.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Smiths. You got me into the Smiths when we were in Malia, and I'd always swerved them because my dad was into the Smiths, and I just thought, that'll be rubbish when I was a kid and that. I remember listening to your album.
I did that with the Lighthouse family.
Yeah.
Mum used to always play like. Do you like the Lighthouse family? Lifted and that.
Lifted is Goodbye Heartbreak's a decent tune.
What's that one?
It's Scowling. It's Goodbye. I don't know.
Is that that beat?
Is it Goodbye Heartbreak? I can't even remember.
You know the B-sides of the Lighthouse family.
Right. Goodbye Heartbreak. Yeah.
I don't know that one.
Heartbreak. You don't look for me because I don't need you now. That's their best tune. Never mind that Lifted.
You've not sold it.
Lifted's rubbish, man. Hey, get with the program. Yeah. Well, that's not a great loss, though, is it? Not listening to the Lighthouse family.
No.
I mean, how many albums did they bring out?
I remember it. The first album was Postcards from Heaven.
Really?
Yeah, because my mum used to always batter it. As like always. And you walk past the house and you'd hear Lifted on. I'm like, she's clean.
If I outlive you, right? If I outlive you, I'm playing Postcards from Heaven at your funeral.
I do it. Be a
the
laugh,
entire album. I'm going to say it's what he wanted.
Yeah.
We're going to sit here and we're going to listen to this entire album from start to finish because that was his last request.
Let's ask the people out there, what would you have as your funeral song?
So yours is Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now?
At the moment, yeah, it might change. Maybe Sigala or something like something modern. Can't get that song out of my head today.
I know, I saw your tweet earlier. My missus,
know?
She said she'd have House of Pain Jump Around.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Some questionable
Do you think you'll go before her?
Before my missus?
Yeah.
100%, yeah. She's a goodie too, she's missus. She's never touched a drug in her life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I on the other hand, can't exactly say that. So,
do you think about death often? Like, I know this is like, well, we're talking about death.
No, listen,
staying on theme.
Death is a part of life, and it's the theme. So, we talk about all
death
topics.
is the end of life. It's not part of life.
Is that not technically part of life? Though?
Shut up. What would you?
Glad we have these discussions.
Yeah. So, would you be cremated, buried? What would you be your?
I think a nice bit of cremation, yeah.
Bit of cremation, bit of dirt. And chucked somewhere on Old Trafford pitch.
You've got away with words, you. Chucked somewhere. Yeah, what?
I can just imagine Laura running around the house having to get the kids ready or something. She's like,
I'm going to go chuck your dad off in the garden.
I keep forgetting to scatter him.
Yeah, I need to scatter him somewhere, man. I don't know. Not Old Trafford. It's a bit. I mean, I don't think you can do
cliche.
That. It's a bit cliched. I don't think you can do that anyway. I think they have to stop because loads of people request.
Just run on as a fucking streak.
Run on.
Just hole in the back and
American
leg it across.
footballer
Yeah,
with your,
rub it
or
across.
rugby player with your urn. I don't know. Do you know what? I don't even know. I haven't even got a spot, actually. It's a good point, that.
You could do the tree thing, couldn't you? Some people.
Yeah,
do that.
yeah. My grandma-in-law, my nana-in-law, she had her ashes scattered near a tree. So that's quite nice, picturesque. You could do something like that. What about yourself? Have you got a spot?
I've always said just give me up to I was going to charity then.
To charity? Hey, I've got a donation for you. Oh, good. We need a donation. We need some money. Oh, no, it's not money.
No.
It's better than money. It's David Scott's ashes.
I just meant me. British Art Foundation stuffed. What did they call it when you're embalmed poet?
Taxidermy.
Yeah. Ethan, you're how old are you? Producer Ethan. 23.
23.
Do you think about death? Yeah. Well, he said that really.
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Straight away, straight in with that, Ethan. You think does it bother you? Does it worry you?
Are you scared of it?
Are you still full of the bravado of youth?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I've kind of calmed down now after leaving Christian school because I used to believe I was going to hell.
He used to believe he was going to hell. To
Why?
go to Christian
What did you
school.
do at Christian school?
To just jam it into your head that if you didn't believe in it, you'll be burning in the lakes of fire for eternity.
They used to jam it into your head that if you didn't believe in it, you'd be burning in the lakes of hell for eternity. He just said that. Lakes of fire, sorry, was it?
Yeah.
Lakes of fire.
That's fucking terrible.
Well, he's turned out all right. He's done him a favour.
He's ended up working with us. Hell
Listen,
might not look like so much a bad option.
Ever since his probation officer dropped him off here, he's been fine.
Yeah. I don't know, not charity, you know, like for donations and stuff. I've always said, like, just if anyone else could use the body parts, and then just fuck the rest off for mince.
The local cannibal.
Sausage and that.
I don't think anyone would have my donations, my body parts. Yeah,
Science, though.
yeah, science. That's a good
How did
shout.
he last so long?
Yeah, we need to open this kid up. Let us know what your funeral song would be. We're on a healthy topic here today. In light of recent events, we're talking about our favourite, or not our favourite, what we'd have as a.
You're just gonna say our favourite death?
Our favourite death. Yeah. What's your favourite death? I'm gonna start at Osama bin Laden. Hey.
What did you make of that when they tossed him in the sea?
Who?
Osama bin Laden. That really got rid of him. They fucked him off in the sea after they killed
Did
him.
they?
Yeah. You must know that after all your weird American conspiracies that you're into.
I'm only into one American conspiracy, and I gave up with it because I decided.
Yeah, when they
that
killed
Lee
him,
Harvey
they
Oswald
put
did
him
act
back.
alone.
They put him back in the plane. They said they didn't want to have any sight for sort of martyrdom, so they just fucked him off in the Atlantic or whatever.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Oh, that
apparently
makes
so.
sense, doesn't it?
I guess so.
Yeah.
That was your favourite death.
I don't know. I haven't really got one, to be honest with you. I'm not really bothered.
You think about Hitler?
Hitler, I wasn't around for that. So I'm just like, I tell you what,
What's
I'll never forget April 1945. I'd just been demobbed when the news came through on the wireless that Adolf had died. We had a cup of Bovril to celebrate. No, I was born in 35 years after he died, so that one kind of missed me by.
What death really what celebrity death really got you?
That's a good question. I tell you,
At last.
Yeah, we got there in the end. There was do you remember that spate of them where Carolina Aherne, Victoria Wood,
Yeah,
Prince, Bowie?
yeah, that was a bad year,
There was
man.
like a year, wasn't there, of deaths.
Bowie kicked it off, didn't it? It's like
Yeah.
all your heroes died, ironically,
Yeah.
after David Bowie.
Carolina Aherne.
Yeah,
got to me.
same.
Absolutely loved the royal family, and she was a bit of a tortured soul once she Carolina Aherne. She had a few issues and stuff, which made her more appealing to me as a person because we've all been there. She was
Human
flawed,
and
human,
yeah.
flawed, and incredibly talented.
Yeah.
And
We don't celebrate her enough at all. In
So,
this,
do you know what? You're talking my language. I think that in many ways, she's almost slips under the radar of how amazing she was and what she did. The royal family is just ridiculously good. And to come up with that idea of almost, there's no jokes, there's no laughter track, there's none of this. It's just a family in Manchester sat around watching telly. You imagine pitching that to someone 20 odd years ago, whenever it was.
Yeah.
They're going to be looking at you like you've got two heads. Like, what are you on about? That's not a show.
Yeah, and if you are interested in more about Carolina Aherne, I actually discussed that very topic in my book that's coming out next year. And we've got commentary from the likes of John Thompson and people that worked with her extensively. Chris Moltisanti's in there as well.
Yeah, Michael Imperioli, because he on the.
I wrote the Sopranos.
Have you listened to that bit? I know you have. It's so good. On the Sopranos podcast, Michael Imperioli, who plays Chris Moltisanti, like Scotty was saying, he's talking to, I think, is it Robert Sharipa? I always get his surname wrong, forgive me. And he's talking about the royal family, and Robert's not watched it. And he says he has this description, which I love. He says it makes Seinfeld look positively plot driven because it's just not. It's talk about a show about nothing, but he loves it, doesn't he? And it's great to see that humour translates to.
Do you know how the pitch got off?
No.
I'm probably maybe not doing any spoilers in the book here, but she was doing Mrs. Merton, wasn't she?
Yeah.
For a while, and the BBC, and she said that she's going to pull Mrs. Merton if they don't allow it, if they don't commission her to do the royal family.
Really?
So she said like, right, I'm doing this, and then they pretty much give her carte blanche as to how they were doing it, and they didn't buy into the idea at all.
Really?
Yeah.
I read, I think it's Ricky Tomlinson's book. I think he said, I think it might have been the first day they just threw the scripts out and started again. They had the scripts and they were like, well, obviously you know more about it than I did, but like, no, this isn't what I'm doing. This isn't working.
Yeah, she had a very clear vision of what she wanted.
And it's like, I remember chatting to a mate who lives down south and he's got a family in Leeds, and he was saying that was like his family in Leeds. That was just what they did. And I remember I used to have a mate, well, you know, he's moved to Australia now, but he's still my mate, Adam Woodson. Is that the royal family just reminded me of his family. Dad was just like that. He had a sister.
Oh, that was my house, mate.
That was it.
So my house. I'm a friend's houses as well.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You can relate to it, can't you?
Yeah, and then when you watch Shameless years later, Shameless was very much a caricature. It's more cartoonish, wasn't it? Therefore, but yeah, it was just a perfect representation of working class Manchester at the time. I think. I don't think it's ever been done anywhere near it. So I think when Ken Loach and the likes do working class documentary, I mean, they don't put you in the best of moods, do they, Ken Loach? But they don't really show you the warmth.
I find that with because one of my favourite filmmakers used to be Shane Meadows, and I'm not dissing him. I still like him.
This is England, yeah.
Yeah, but not for that, because I love. It's almost forgot it then. Dead Man's Shoes.
Yeah.
And A Room for Romeo Brass as well. I think it's a very good film. But This Is England. It's just depressing, man. It's too much. You know what I mean? Like, I'm watching it and I'm like, bro, life's tough enough without watching this. Do you know what I mean? And I get it's superb filmmaking, and not just the film. I mean the TV show as well. And I understand there's a place for it, and people love it, and it's won awards, and it's revered, and all this. It's just, for me, it's just a bit heavy.
Yeah.
When you're like, do you know what I mean? You know, been work all day, and you put telly on, and it's like just depressing stuff of horrific traumas that people are going through, and you're like, oh my god,
it's brutal, man.
I'm exhausted.
Brilliant soundtrack in This Is England, though.
Yeah, it is.
Really
good.
I went out for a pint with Gadget.
Oh, did
This
you?
Is England. He's from Wivenshaw.
Yeah, he's mates with you know,
Andrew. Can't remember his name.
Is it not Gwyn? Is it not Gwyn? No, that's the politician. Oh, do you know what? He's mates with. Do you know Alex Mays, who does Breakthrough?
Yeah.
You know the Breakthrough Party that I've been doing some stuff with in the
past.
past.
He's very political.
Very left wing.
Yeah.
He was on one of the first calls I did with him, a Zoom call, and he was on it, and I thought I recognise him.
Yeah.
Do you know?
His sound, his voice. I mean, he obviously he's grown up, but his voice just isn't. You know.
Yeah. It's so like there's so many good sort of actors in that whole Shane Meadows.
Well, they were all like non-actors.
Non-actors and just unprofessional. Yeah, because I saw one of them working in the Trafford Centre once, and it was like, it was definitely her. But no, I do like Shane Meadows, and I do like those films and the programme This Is England, because there was different ones when it was 83, 86 and 88, I think, was it? Or 80,
it was
or
84,
90.
wasn't it, around the football?
Yeah, one was at the World Cup,
yeah,
I think. And I did enjoy it, but I just got a little bit heavy, and I was just like, do you know what I mean? Just a bit too much.
Give them people some sunshine, man. It's just, you know what I mean? It was always dark.
It was. Who was your celebrity death that
well, I would probably count. I'm not just picking on the back of yours.
Well, it's obviously someone who's relevant to both of us.
Yeah, growing up, that really affected me. Tupac Shakur when he was killed. Yeah, because I was massive into hip hop. Like when Tupac got killed and Biggie and all that. That was. But I think that's just from a teenage sort of thing. So I don't know if it really would affect me later on in life. You know, if it would have happened later on in life. Yeah. The other one that affected me, and I'm gonna fucking forget his name now, and it's gonna do me shedding. I can't believe it. Fuck. Lead singer of Linkin Park, and it's fucking.
Oh, I'm sorry, mate. I can't.
Fluffing my lines here on.
It's all right.
Yeah, well, he killed himself like not long after. I think his friend Chris Cornell killed himself, and when that happened, that fucking sent my head a bit west.
So you've got. I mean, you know, I know this is great telly, innit? Us looking. Chester Bennington.
Chester Bennington. I was going to say Chris Bennington. Yeah, Chester Bennington. That like fuck. Because I'd like the whole thing regarding my mental health had gone spiraling around that sort of time, and then that happened. I was like, really sort of fucked me up. It does, you know, when people like end themselves that way as well.
My missus, Miss Man United, is in the chat, right? This isn't a joke. This is true. She's cried 3 times over Dale Winton's death.
Is Dale Winton dead?
Oh, God, don't you start. Right, yeah, he is. Right.
The guy who did bargain on?
He did supermarket sweep.
Who did bargain on?
I don't know who did bagging on. In that what's his name?
Dale Dickinson.
David Dickinson. This is like podcasting for the insane, isn't it? We're too young to be this senile, me and you, son.
I'm sure it's fantastic to watch.
Dale Winton died in 2018, right? And I remember me and Mrs. were sat on the couch and I said about Dale Winton. I said, it's sad, isn't it, what happened to him? So she was like, what do you mean? I said, well, he died quite young when he died. He was 62.
Same age as you're going to be?
Yeah, exactly. It's weird, isn't it? So she started crying. She's upset. So I was like, all right, sorry, I thought you knew. Literally about a year later, I said, it's like that time. You started crying over Dale Winton dying. She went, Dale Winton dead. Honestly.
Laura!
Again. And then, I think a few months ago, she went for the hat trick.
You know what she's doing now at home, don't you?
Seriously. She's mentioned it in the chat. Honestly. Sooner or later, the penny will drop.
You come across as a lovely bloke.
Yeah, see. She just said the same, because you didn't know. Darren Walters is a good one. Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a shock, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. He was quite dismissive. I can't remember one of the.
But he was. Didn't he have a bad illness as well, Robin Williams? I know he'd had demons regarding addiction and stuff, but I think when later in life he got a really bad sort of illness that was going to like.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Was it like memory or something?
Yeah,
like that?
I think he had a sort of like you say, memory, or he was getting dementia. And yeah, he was going to fade away. Basically.
Yeah,
That was a problem. Good to see John Shin in the chat.
Is that Lewy body dementia?
Lewy body dementia. Yeah, I mean, obviously it was very sad and what happened. Luke Oru says Michael Jackson. Not going to lie, he was my absolute idol. Eli Regan says Carolina Aherne is a good shout. Sorry, Ellie Regan. Random one, but Philip Seymour Hoffman, great actor. He was a great actor.
Brilliant
that was very
actor.
out of surprise. Oh, Mrs. saying Amy Winehouse. That was one that was that was very, very tragic. I mean,
again, when you were talking about DMX, these things were playing out in the public eye, and then nobody got hold of her and saved her life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just that Amy documentary is really, really difficult to watch.
Yeah, it's very clever the way that's been done. It's the same guy that made Senna and Maradona.
Maradona, yeah.
And it's all archiving it.
Asif Kapidia?
Yeah, that's. I always get his name wrong, but I think that sounds about right. Yeah, he uses all archive footage. If you've not seen it, so it's all like mobile phone footage, news footage, home movies, all that sort of stuff. And it just tells the story of what's happening with her. And it's you know what? It's always extra tragic in it. It's like the DMX one when you know what's going to happen, you know what's coming, you know how this pans out.
There was no surprise. When it happened, there was no surprise, though, really, was there? I don't think when Amy Winehouse passed away.
No,
I think I mentioned the podcast before. I met her once at the Manchester Academy and I had a cig with her. This is when she was first coming out.
Just when Frank was out.
Yeah. Well, I think it was just before Frank had come out.
So this is very early. Before Frank.
So I went and watched before Frank had come out. I met a cigarette outside and she was fucking bouncing on life. Just really sort of piss taking. Yeah, as you'd expect her to be. Do you know what I mean? And sort of energy and that. And then I saw her at the Old Trafford. But I think it must have been 2 years before she died, and fucking chalk and cheese, mate, in terms of the person you were talking to.
Really?
Yeah, it was just completely
I think
different.
I saw her. Where was it? I saw V-Fest or somewhere, and she's a bit
just
worse for wear.
Incoherent, and just it was just the drugs are taking hold and stuff.
Have you seen that documentary when she comes out of her house and there's just 100 paps there?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
It's just so bad, and I think these tragedies are preventable, and it's the people that are trying to. The parasites in the media that are doing it for financial reasons, for fucking advertising spaces, because that's all it's for, isn't it? And the pure, poor, tortured people who have been given so much talent and music, especially, it's just heartbreaking. It really is. It
is, and it's sad with Amy Winehouse. You think that, if circumstances are different, if something could have been done, do you know what I mean? Then she could have got away from it all, or she could have got help that she needed, and I mean. She at one point went to I think she went to a detox that I was in years ago, and obviously it stuck with me and didn't.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, it's like
But it was alcohol, wasn't it? In the end, it wasn't the crack that killed her.
It was. I think she was really struggling, and that can be obviously it can be a killer. It was 27 as well.
It's another one of the 27 club, isn't it?
Yeah, there's that thing. Is it Hendrix and
Janis Joplin, Amy Winehouse,
Brian Jones? Is it?
Kurt Cobain?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it was like this
few,
the 27 club. Josh W says Prince. Santa Notch says Rick Mail. Absolutely, I idolised him. My mate Darren Richmond absolutely loves Rick Mail. Rick Mail was very funny. Darren Walters says Kurt Cobain. Yeah, Kurt Cobain. I remember I was only a kid when that happened, quite young. I didn't really know as much about him then, but I read a book on him recently, and he went through a lot, Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
Didn't he? He had like stomach problems, he had a heroin addiction, he's like...
I think he fell out of love with it, and I think he wasn't expecting Nirvana to ever be the success that they were, and he didn't really know how to deal with the fame on top of everything else that was going on.
Because that album, Nevermind, was just unreal, wasn't it? It was like...
Oh, it's everywhere when it came out, wasn't it?
And those, I mean, it's one of the best albums ever, I think. I'm not even particularly...
I'm not a massive Nirvana fan, you know. No. I mean, the singles on that I can dig, but I like the live, MTV Unplugged. That was sublime.
Is that where he does...
covers Bowie and that on
it?
The
Man Who Saved the World.
The Man Who Saved the World.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant song, and he does it justice. I mean, something like that, you think, again, it's difficult because you look at it and you think, why? You've got all your fame, you've got all your, success. And
to shoot yourself in the face, though, as well, that's the fucked up shit.
It is, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Like, he had a nice face.
What? I'm guessing
you've got, like, I'm just thinking, if you're that, I mean, we were talking in the podcast of the week about having dark thoughts and stuff, but I'm saying, like, people have got a barrier.
Do you think it's
do you
think that's a little bit rude?
It's a bit of bad manners.
Like, because someone's got to clean all that up and find you and do
that.
And it's not the one, is it? Like, they're already going to be highly traumatised because you passed away. And then they've got to
head out the back of your car.
Deal with all that, yeah. It is a little bit.
If you're going to do it, I just think that you can get, like, when you watch, like, Sopranos stuff and they say they shot him in the face. Oh, it's in the Godfather. They shot him in the face so they couldn't have an open burial.
Oh, yeah.
I just think, if you're going to do it, I just don't think you need to shoot yourself in the face.
I'm guessing if you've put a bloody, your toe in a shotgun and put in the barrel in your mouth, you're not really considering the clean.
I don't think I'd be able to do that.
You wouldn't?
Not with like my legs and stuff. I just don't think I.
You could probably do it with your foot in a revolver.
I don't know if I could.
No. No, I don't think I don't know. That's not for me anyway. And all that. I mean, I've never.
That's not for me.
No, none of that. To be honest with you. Do you know? And also, I've never fired a gun, and I'd like to.
You never fired a gun?
No, I'd like to go through the rest of my life, including my final moments, without ever firing a gun. To be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, my mates when we went to Budapest, and they were like, "Oh, let's go shooting at the shooting range," because they all think they're in the army, even though they're not. And I was like, "No, that's not for me."
Yeah.
Oh, what's up with you? Oh, what's up? I was not into guns.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What about you? Have you let off a few shots and that?
Might have done. I think I'm going to incriminate myself on that,
I don't want to go down a dark.
Grew up in Manchester in the 90s, mate.
Yeah. All right.
The thing I never, like the first time I ever shot a gun, like it's the kickback that I wasn't expecting, especially when you're young and your arms that you haven't got any shoulder, and I wasn't really expecting the sort of.
Yeah, I remember my mate had he had a starter pistol, and he nearly dislocated his thumb with it.
Yeah.
He was only a kid as well. I don't even know where he got it from. He was about 11 when he had it. And I remember it woke up everyone in his state because he let it off dead late at night. Anthony Bourdain, someone says in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You know that better than anyone. Tanvir, Manchester 1982 says Victoria Wood, Berry Girl, also passed away amongst others in 2016. Another one, an amazingly talented woman. I went to a thing at the Victoria Station. I think it was unveiling of a statue or there was some sort of event, or it might have just been an event for her to sort of celebrate her life. Maxine Peake was there. My mum got a picture of her. And yeah, Victoria Wood. I remember when I was a kid, my mum and dad used to love Victoria Wood. And yeah, it was again just a horrible year, wasn't it? 2016 for all these people passing away. Heath Ledger too.
Yeah,
there's another one Mrs. mentioned there. Yeah, that was one out of the blue. I think was he 30 or something?
Was that drugs again? Was that drugs?
I think it was like
overdose, but not purposeful.
Yeah, it was like taking sleeping pills and all that. Because a lot of people who are actors and stuff, because they have.
Yeah, because I think him and Seymour Hoffman died pretty close to each other. I was a massive fan of Seymour Hoffman's work.
Yeah, really
him and talented Mr. Ripley's fucking sensational performance.
Yeah, that's a good shout out. Yeah, it is. We're gonna wrap. I mean, after this, what can only be described as one of the most cheeriest podcasts we've ever done.
Well, let me, considering we spoke about death, I think we've done it justice with a smile.
I think we have. So we know now you want everyone knows I'm miserable now.
Yeah.
At your funeral,
and to be made into mince after.
And you want to be made into mince. I want my asses just scattered in somewhere. I don't know. Just
Don't leave them on the side, Laura. Right, if you're watching still now, there's 90 of you. Press like, please, and subscribe. We really appreciate everyone that watches and gets involved in the chat. Hope you've enjoyed tonight's trip down.
cheery, we've cheered you all up tonight after the dramas and the sad news we've had this last couple of weeks, or like whatever it is, last 5 days. We decided to give you a bit of uplifting.
The bright side of death.
Talking about all our, all the celebrities that we miss. We'll be back next week. We'll try and pick a better topic, or a more happier topic, I should say, than death and funerals. We'll find something a bit more cheery.
Well, we're only dictated by the news, aren't we, really?
It's the news that leads this podcast.
Yes.
Don't blame us. It's the news. It's the news' fault.
We're on trend.
We are on trend. So we'll be back 7 o'clock every Monday. We'll be live, So make sure you are subscribing to the channel. We appreciate all the support we've had for you guys. You've been absolutely amazing. And thanks to everyone who got involved in the comments as well. My missus says me ashes are going in Lidl car park, apparently.
Little car park?
Yeah, there you go. That is so,
Is that close to your house?
No, it's miles away.
Well, she's having to make a journey. That's very thoughtful of her. What nice one, Laura. I'll give you a lift.
For it. Yeah, that's me sorted in the afterlife anyway. Right, that's been Scotty. I've been Motty. Thanks for watching.